You think Vicks VapoRub is only for coughs? Wrong. Grandma had 40 hacks, from foot care to insect repellent, that can change your life. And hack number 17? You'll never guess it. If you're surprised what Vicks VapoRub can do, then subscribe to our channel for more brilliant everyday hacks that you've definitely never heard of before. And now, have fun with Grandma's 40 best hacks. Eliminate squeaking doors. Back when a door squeaked, Grandma didn't hesitate. She grabbed the blue can with the scent of our childhood. A dab of VapoRub on the finger, onto the hinge. A bit of rubbing, done. The door was silent, and we were amazed. Who would have thought that this cold balm also works as a lubricant? But it works. The ointment glides into the crevices, takes away the scraping from the metal, and suddenly an annoying sound becomes a memory. A piece of everyday magic that works very quietly, just like Grandma. And that's exactly why we start with this. Soothe cold sores. As soon as you felt that tingling on the lip, Grandma grabbed the blue can. A dab of VapoRub, carefully applied, not rubbed in. The familiar menthol scent rose, cooled the skin, eased the pain. It was as if the sore immediately retreated, and often it did just that. Instead of days of throbbing, just a hint, barely visible. Grandma knew when to act, not when it was too late, but at exactly the right moment. And with something that was always in the cabinet, completely unassuming, and yet so effective. A real classic that never gets old. Treat ingrown hairs. After shaving, it sometimes pricked like little needles. Redness, pressure, a hair that couldn't decide to grow out. Grandma spotted it right away. Grabbed the ointment, opened the lid with that familiar snap. A dab of VapoRub right on the spot gently worked in. Overnight, the skin smoothed out. The hair came to its senses. The next morning, less irritation, less waiting. The scent in the air soothing like an old melody. That's how it went. Quietly, effectively, with a delicate touch. Today, they call it skincare. Back then, it was simply Grandma's method, and it still works. Repel moths. The closet smelled of lavender and memories, but when moths came, Grandma got serious. She didn't get a spray. She took her ointment, VapoRub on a tissue, into the corners. Quiet and effective. The menthol scent laid over blouses and wool socks like a shield. Moths turned away as if they'd changed their minds. Grandma knew how to protect fabrics without poisoning them. And the scent lingered. A scent trail of care. Between summer dress and winter vest, very quietly, like a whisper that says, everything stays safe here. Protection can smell so simple. Clear airways. When the cold came at night and the nose seemed blocked up, Grandma got her wonder weapon, a dab of VapoRub carefully spread on chest and neck. The scent spread like a warm blanket. Menthol, eucalyptus, camphor, a small orchestra against the wheezing. The nose opened, breathing became calm. Sleep returned, all without syrup or spray. Just this soothing mixture and the quiet feeling that someone is taking care of you. It was more than a remedy. It was a ritual, comfort to rub in, and sometimes that's all you needed. Remove chewing gum. The chewing gum stuck stubbornly under the chair, well-trodden, soft like tar, and no one knew how to get it off. Only Grandma stayed calm. She got VapoRub, smeared the stuff right on the spot, as if it was the most normal thing. 10 minutes later, the gum slid off almost by itself. It was as if the ointment had its own memory for childhood pranks, and a solution for everything too sticky for life. Grandma would have just smiled and said, "See, it works." Prevent rust on tools. Grandpa cared for his tools like others do their classic cars. Every screwdriver, every pliers had its place and its shine. And when autumn came, he got VapoRub. He rubbed the handles, the blades, the joints, as if winterizing them. The scent wafted through the workbench like a quiet assurance. It wasn't just maintenance, it was respect for craftsmanship. And a hack not found in the hardware store, but in the memory drawer between screws, sawdust, and trust. Keep rodents away. In winter, there was sometimes a quiet rustling behind the pantry. Little paws, big plans. But Grandma stayed calm. She soaked cotton balls with VapoRub and placed them in the corners. The scent rose, sharp and clear like an invisible guard. The mice turned away. No poison, no trap snap, just menthol setting boundaries. So the supplies stayed safe and the kitchen quiet, with foresight instead of panic, with scent instead of threat. And if you looked closely, you understood. Cleverness sometimes smells like eucalyptus. Heel cracked heels. Grandma had soft hands and soft heels because she knew what she was doing. In the evenings, she took time. Wash feet, dry them, then VapoRub, thick on the heels like a promise to the next morning. Cotton socks over them, warm and secure. The scent rose, menthol mixed with silence. While we slept, it healed. Cracks disappeared, the skin became supple. No fuss, just consistency. A small ritual that worked wonders, and suddenly feet walked lightly again, as if they'd remembered how soft the world can be when given the right care. So simple, so effective. Relieve headaches. When the head throbbed and the day became too heavy, Grandma had a gesture that made everything lighter. She took a little VapoRub, dabbed it on forehead and temples, and her fingers circled slowly, calmly, surely. The scent rose, cool and clear, as if someone opened a window in the head. The tension eased, the pulling subsided. It was no miracle, but care in its purest form, and sometimes that's exactly enough. A moment of peace, a familiar hand, and a remedy that can do more than you think. Keep mosquitoes away. Summer evenings on the balcony, crickets chirping, warm wind, and then that buzzing. But Grandma knew what to do. A dab of VapoRub on wrist, ankle, neck. The scent, fresh, sharp, penetrating, lay on the skin like a protective cloak. Mosquitoes approached, hesitated, turned away. Menthol in the air like an invisible boundary. On the window frame, on the nightstand, under the lamp, a silent guardian over sleep. The night stayed calm. The bite stayed away. Sometimes a small gesture, a bit of ointment, and summer is yours again. Neutralize shoe odor. When Grandma's shoes stood in the hallway in the evening, it never smelled like old leather or sweaty day. It smelled like menthol, like freshness, like VapoRub. A touch on the insole, especially at the front and heel, and overnight every shoe turned into a little recovery spot. The scent moved in, the musty fled, not covered up, but driven out. And in the morning, they were ready again, for walks to the market, for dance evenings, for everyday life. Whoever sprays with deodorant today makes it complicated. Grandma made it simple, and her shoes smelled like movement and a touch of home, always. Stop pets from marking. Grandma's cat was headstrong, and yet he knew exactly where to stop. Not through scolding, but through scent. She applied a touch of VapoRub to the table leg, to the sofa corner where marking usually happened. One sniff, and he quietly left. The smell was clear, almost ceremonial. Menthol, camphor, eucalyptus, like an invisible boundary. Without volume, respect emerged. The spot stayed clean, the furniture unharmed. It was education with a delicate touch, scent instead of pressure. And every time the cat paused, you saw it in his eyes, that quiet acknowledgement. Grandma was ahead of him, always. Relieve foot pain. In the evening, Grandma sat on the stool, apron still tied, feet stretched out in front. She sighed quietly, grabbed the can. VapoRub on the soles, massaged in with firm, small circles, from heel to toe. The scent rose, menthol mixed with tiredness. Each grip a thank you to 2 feet that had carried the day. Then socks over, rest. And the next morning, steps were lighter, the gaze clearer. It was that simple, that matter of fact. A quiet massage that achieved more than 1,000 words and lasted longer. Combat dandruff. When it snowed on the head like snow in April, Grandma had an answer. Not in the shampoo aisle, but in the nightstand. A dab of VapoRub, dabbed into the scalp with a delicate touch. Not scrubbed, just gently massaged. The tingling came, the scent rose, fresh like morning dew. Then she let it work, quietly. Afterward, it was washed, but not just clean. It was a cure for skin and soul. The scalp breathed easier, the itch disappeared. No chemicals, just an old hack that achieved more than many promises. And proof that care sometimes heals very quietly. keep flies away from the trash can. In summer, the trash can became an invitation card. Flies came, sniffed, danced in circles, but not with Grandma. She had her method. A dab of VapoRub under the lid, carefully distributed like a secret. The scent was strong, fresh, clear, and the flies turned away, as if someone had hung a closed sign. It buzzed elsewhere, but no longer in her kitchen. That one grab for the can achieved more than any attempt with newspaper or chemicals. And suddenly, the waste didn't smell like yesterday, but like menthol and order. It was that simple. Always. Immediate relief for skin reactions. A wrong step through the underbrush and the burning started. Redness, itching, a feeling like needle pricks under the skin. Grandma reacted immediately. She got VapoRub, dabbed it on the irritated spot, gently, calmly, decisively. The menthol scent rose, cooled the skin, took the edge off the irritation. The urge to itch subsided, the scratching stayed away. The spot calmed, the day continued. It was first aid, straight from the pantry, without fuss, but with effect. So an annoyance turned into a quiet moment of relief. And the forest lost its terror, thanks to Grandma's clear vision. Treat nail fungus. Grandma had patience, especially with things that took time, like a discolored toenail, slow, thick, and dull. Others looked away. She grabbed the ointment. Every evening, a dab of VapoRub right on the nail, into the corners. The scent was familiar, the effect quiet. Nothing happened suddenly, but gradually, cloudy became clear again. The nail grew healthy, slowly, steadily, without big words, without chemicals, just with consistency and a remedy that stayed where it was needed. So Grandma healed not just nails, but also the feeling of being able to help yourself, step by step. Soothe insect bites. A summer evening, barefoot in the grass, a quiet sting, and peace was gone. But Grandma stayed calm. She took VapoRub, dabbed it on the skin, right where it burned. No big drama, just that cool breath that lay over the itch like a menthol plaster. The burning subsided, the urge to scratch lost power. The sting was still there, but quiet. A small gesture, a big effect. And again it showed. You don't need much, just the right thing, at the right time, applied with care, like Grandma did. Always. Treat athlete's foot. After the swimming pool, it often started very quietly. An itch between the toes, barely noticeable, but Grandma noticed it right away. She didn't wait, got her can, rubbed VapoRub there where the skin flaked. The scent was sharp, almost medicinal, the effect quiet. Menthol cooled, camphor fought, and the fungus had little to laugh about. Night after night, her feet wore the ointment, protected in cotton socks, bedded in patience. In the morning, they felt clean, healthy. It was care, but also prevention. And a piece of wisdom that still works between the toes, step by step. Banish musty basement smells. In the old storage cellar, it smelled like the past, like damp masonry and stale air, but never for long. Grandma placed a small bowl with VapoRub on the windowsill, laid a soaked cloth on the shelf. The scent slowly permeated the room. The mustiness fled, as if someone had aired without opening the window. It was a home remedy against stagnation, an invisible freshness kick that took the heaviness from the cellar. So simple, so effective. And every time you opened the door, you didn't smell memory, but optimism and a touch of Grandma. Soothe dry scalp. When Grandma noticed her scalp was tight, she didn't reach for expensive ampules. She reached for the ointment, a small dab of VapoRub on the fingertips, then gently massaged in at the spots that itched or felt dry. The scent rose, the pressure eased. It cooled, soothed, just felt good. After half an hour, it was rinsed out and the scalp felt like new, relaxed, circulated, reconciled, as if you'd listened to it. And that was Grandma's secret. She listened, even where others noticed nothing. Make splinters easier to remove. A splinter barely visible, but felt with every step. Back then, it wasn't just a case for tweezers alone. Grandma applied VapoRub calmly with a bandage over it. Then she let time work. The skin softened, the pressure eased. The next morning, the splinter almost emerged by itself, like a guest who found the way to the door. No pulling, no crying, just a grip, a twitch, done. It was clever and gentle at the same time, and you learned. Patience often heals faster than haste, especially when menthol is involved. Bring stainless steel to a high shine. Grandma liked it when everything shone, especially the kitchen faucet. No streaks, no fingerprint allowed to stay. Her secret wasn't from the cleaning aisle, it came from the blue can, a dab of VapoRub on a cloth, gently over the stainless steel, circling almost lovingly, then polished with a second dry cloth. The shine returned, mirror-like, and the menthol scent made the difference. It wasn't a cleaning hack, it was attitude. Whoever cleans with dedication leaves more than cleanliness. It shows that even the small things matter, and shines back, quietly but clearly. Relief for minor burns. A moment of inattention at the stove, the pan too hot, a finger too close, and it happened. Grandma didn't scream. She turned on the faucet, held the spot under it, dabbed it dry. Then came the ointment, VapoRub, very carefully applied. It cooled, took the heat, soothed the skin. The pain eased, the throbbing faded. By evening, no one talked about it anymore, except for the light menthol scent that lingered in the kitchen, and the feeling that even hot mistakes can heal gently, if you know how. Quiet a creaky bed frame. At night, when everything was quiet, every creak sounded like thunder. A light turn, a sigh, and the bed responded. But Grandma knew how to silence a piece of furniture. She took VapoRub, ran her finger into the corners of the frame, where wood met wood, screw met metal. A little ointment, no big deal. Afterward, there was peace. Not for a moment, but for many nights. The menthol scent lingered, the noise disappeared. Silence sounded so simple. And the bedroom became a place of rest again, not of acoustics. Mask paint smell. When painting was done, the whole house smelled like solvents. Thick air that lingered even through open windows. But Grandma had a hack no painter knew. She placed small bowls with VapoRub in the corners, on the windowsill, behind the door. The scent rose slowly. Menthol displaced the biting smell, eucalyptus cleared the air. Paint became freshness. No artificial spray mist, but quiet presence. After a few hours, the room breathed again, and we, with it. A home remedy against heavy air, straight from the ointment can. And so you gladly live in freshly painted memories. Keep cats away. Grandma's cat was a king, but not on the sofa. As soon as he scratched, she laid a cloth with VapoRub on the spot. Quietly, firmly, effectively. The smell said more than 1,000 words. Menthol in the air, eucalyptus in the nose, camphor in the decision. Not here. The cat turned away, tail raised, but without claws in the upholstery. It wasn't a command. It was a scent that set boundaries. Friendly, but clear, and the furniture stayed intact. That's how you trained back then. With respect, cleverness, and a small can that understood more than any command. Relieve muscle soreness. After a long day in the garden, with dirt under the fingernails and pulling in the calves, Grandma didn't reach for pain pills. She reached for the ointment, VapoRub, massaged in with a calm hand, circling over tired muscles. The menthol cooled, the camphor warmed, the skin tingled, the pain receded, and suddenly the body didn't feel exhausted, but used, in a good way, like after honest work. It wasn't therapy, it was attention, a small massage with big effect, and the scent said, now it's quitting time, now you can let go. And tomorrow everything will be light again. Relieve ear pain. When the ear pressed, throbbed dully, or twinged in the wind, Grandma had a hand movement that relieved more than words. She took some VapoRub, warmed it briefly between her fingers, and applied it gently behind the ear. Not inside, just around. The scent rose, the pain quietly retreated. Then came the cloth, lightly warmed, like a promise of peace. No medicine, but attention. The ear stopped complaining, the body breathed easier. And suddenly there was only silence, one that stays. Because someone knew how to meet pain with gentleness. Care for dry, cracked lips. Winter didn't come with snow, but with chapped lips. Cracked, tight, sore from the wind. Grandma said nothing. She grabbed the ointment. A touch of VapoRub on the lips, carefully, almost reverently. It tingled lightly, cooled, worked. Overnight, what had burst during the day healed. In the morning, the lips were quiet. No burning, no tightness, just skin that felt like skin again. And the scent, that touch of menthol, quietly told that care sometimes tastes bitter, but makes soft. And that real care has nothing to do with cosmetics, but with closeness. Make bruises fade. Faster, a bump on the table leg, a short pain, later a bruise. Grandma didn't comment. She disappeared into the kitchen, came back with VapoRub, a dab on the skin, gently massaged in small circles, almost tenderly. The scent rose, menthol cooled, camphor warmed through. The skin breathed. The spot, just proud and purple, slowly lost color. Day by day, it paled. Grandma's way of helping the body along. Quietly, effectively, steadily. And incidentally, not only the spots disappeared, but also the annoyance about them. Protect small wounds and abrasions. A scratch on the knee, scraped while playing or pruning roses. No reason to panic. Grandma took a cloth, cleaned the spot, then grabbed the ointment. A touch of VapoRub, carefully applied. Not right in the middle, but gently along the edge. It cooled, didn't burn, protected like an invisible bandage. A strip of fabric over it, firm but friendly. The wound healed, slowly, quietly, reliably. No big words, no sterile clinic. Just a hand movement that said, "You're taken care of," and the skin soon felt whole again, as if it had learned to forget faster. Softened stretch marks. Grandma called them her lifelines. Fine stripes, delicate like old ink, over belly and hips. They never bothered her, but she knew how to do them good. After bathing, she massaged in VapoRub, with a calm hand, firm circles, patiently. Camphor and menthol invigorated. The skin drank the care. It smelled like attentiveness, like time for herself. Week after week, the lines paled, the skin softened, the feeling more familiar. It was devotion, not haste, and proof that care works when it comes from affection, not from rush or pressure. Remove crayon from walls. On the wall, an elephant, in red, next to it, a house in green, art freshly created with crayons on textured wallpaper. Grandma stayed calm. She grabbed VapoRub, dabbed some on a cloth, and went over the picture in small circles. The wax dissolved. The wall paint stayed untouched. The elephant disappeared. The child's smile stayed. In the air hung menthol, fresh like a second chance. No rush, just a quiet ritual. And the knowledge, for every colorful mishap, there's a solution. If you keep calm and have a can of ointment in the cabinet. Freshen the vacuum cleaner. When Grandma vacuumed, it didn't smell like dust. It smelled like freshness, like menthol. She dripped some VapoRub on a piece of cotton and placed it in the vacuum bag. No big secret, just a hand movement with effect. While vacuuming, the scent rose, spread in the room, mixed with the sound of everyday life. The carpet was clean, the air along with it. It was as if the vacuum didn't just swallow crumbs, but tiredness, and at the end, everything smelled new, or better, like home. That's how order smelled when Grandma made it, clear and warm. Keep pet hair away. The sofa was warm, cozy, and full of cat hair. Grandma smiled, took a cloth with VapoRub, and wiped it over the armrest. The scent was clear, commanding. The cat sniffed, turned away. The hair stayed away. The fabric shone, felt smooth. No ban, just a quiet hint. The armchair stayed clean. And Grandma was quietly satisfied, because sometimes a scent is enough to draw a boundary, gently and effectively. Treat warts. Grandma wasn't afraid of warts. She had VapoRub. Every evening, she placed a tiny cap of ointment on the spot, carefully like wrapping a gift. Bandage on, done. The ointment worked quietly, day by day. The wart paled, shrank, eventually just dissolved, like a story no one continues. It wasn't a fight, more a slow persuasion, with patience, scent, and a thick layer of hope. And in the end, nothing remained but a smooth spot and the quiet knowledge. Grandma wins. Always, even against warts. Temporarily reduce waist size. When the dress pinched but the evening called, Grandma had a hack. She mixed VapoRub with baking soda, applied it to the belly, wrapped herself in foil, and lay on the sofa with a smile. It smelled like menthol and courage. 2 hours later, the skin was smooth, the belly felt lighter, the dress fit. It wasn't meant for forever, but for the moment. And sometimes that's exactly enough. A small wrap, a big appearance. Soothe cough. Irritation. When the cough came and the night grew long, Grandma grabbed the ointment, a dab of VapoRub on chest and neck, gently rubbed in, the scarf over it like a promise. Menthol, camphor, eucalyptus rose, soothed, opened, enveloped everything in soothing vapor. The cough quieted. Sleep came closer. No medication, but security in scent and warmth. And the feeling, you're not alone. Not tonight. Not with Grandma. And now you know why Grandma's Blue Can was more than just cold ointment. It was a tool, wonder weapon, quiet helper in everyday life. If you enjoyed this little excursion into the home remedy treasure chest, leave us a subscription. Share the video with someone who should know these hacks too, or has long forgotten them. And write in the comments. Which VapoRub hack did you already know, and which one will you try next? We look forward to your story. Until next time, stay healthy, stay curious,